Hello everyone, happy tea day. Today I have hormone balance tea. So, as you may know from a previous broadcast, we just got a dog a few weeks ago and she's over there making noises. A week after we got her, she went into heat, possibly for the first time ever, but definitely since August. So that's been really fun, like a new dog. The house is new to her, the people are new to her, everything's new to her, she's new to us, and she goes into heat a week after we get her. So yay, new adventures. So in honor of her, hormone balance tea, which I would never give her because I know dogs can't handle certain particular things that people can, like chocolate. Like we need chocolate to stay alive, basically. That's an exaggeration, but sometimes it's not. But dogs, obviously, it's really horrible for them. So I don't know what in this would be good for her and what wouldn't. So obviously I'm keeping it away from her. But I also have hormones and I also want to balance them. So here we go. Hormone balance tea. It's got alfalfa, nettle, lady's mantle, all things that are good for women in particular. And one of the things, I think it was alfalfa, that's good for balancing testosterone. It's helpful for men. But any herb, I feel like if you drink this tea and you're a man, it's not going to give you female characteristics. It's just, it's just something herbal that's good for everyone. But the people who made it at King's Herb Nook made it with women in mind. So yeah, that's my tea of the day. And then one of my sons, the younger of my two sons, he made cake today for a school project. It's a Jewish honey cake, and this is what it looks like. The kids like to read a lot of historical fiction books for school and also for fun. And in one of the book series that they read, the Roman Mystery series, they talk about honey cake a lot. So when my son was trying to figure out what cake to make for his project, he landed on that because he's always reading about it in his books. So I'm very excited to try it. The batter was delicious, and yeah, that'll be a fun thing to eat today. And then my other son, if you notice this artwork behind me, my oldest did that for school. So they had to get a famous piece of artwork, I believe. And this was the piece of artwork that inspired him. And he imitated it using, I want to say mixed media, but it's all paper, so I don't know if that's accurate. But this is what he did, and I think it's really cute. We're not particularly artists in this family. My sister's got all the artistic gene in this family, and my sister Bridget's oldest, he's a great artist. I think this is really good, but you can't trust my opinion because I'm biased, and also I don't have the eye for art the way other people in my family, and I think a lot of artists do. So that's some of the fun things around our house today. And then what I wanted to talk about today was all the gardening I've been doing. So I'm sorry if this is not interesting for people. It's super interesting for me because we can grow our own food, and that's exciting. I like to eat, and sorry, I'm trying to fix the lighting on here, and it just feels weird to me. Okay, anyway. So the idea of growing your own food is exciting to me because I like to eat and I like to eat healthy. And as you probably are all aware, when you go to the grocery store, fruits and vegetables are much more expensive than like a box of Pop-Tarts or whatever, a box of cereal, a box of things that have been made out of just grains and processed a lot, and just you don't really know what they've been through between the field and your table. So it's really great to be able to grow your own things and know what you're putting into it so that it grows better, what you're not putting into it. And so I really like to do that. And I try to get a little bit of everything. And one thing I firmly believe in is you don't need a lot of land to grow a lot of different things. We have about a third of an acre here, and my kids didn't want me to take over the yard with plants the way I kind of, not completely, but kind of did when we lived in Indiana. So I'm trying to have better self-control here, and we've got, I'll take pictures and post them. I think I've done that before, but we've got like a little area for blueberry bushes, and we've got our garden beds in the back and our fruit trees behind them, and then our raspberry trees on the other side, and the blackberry bushes with the blueberry bushes, because blackberry bushes and red raspberry bushes, you can't plant them together. I think it's bad for the blackberries. They have to be ideally 75 to 100 feet apart, and mine probably aren't that far apart, but they're as far apart as I can get them without encroaching onto the front yard. So the kids have lots of room to play in the backyard, all the room to play in the front yard, and I haven't completely taken over yet. So that's good. So this weekend I spent a lot of time working on the blueberries and the raspberries, which I've been meaning to do for a long time. If you saw pictures, you know a little bit about what happened. My blueberries, I didn't do a good job of planting them last year because we were moving into a new house. It was early spring and I was planting a lot and trying to do homeschool with all 5 kids instead of just the 3 youngest. And it was just, it's a lot. Moving's a lot. So when I planted the blueberry bushes, instead of clearing an area for them and then filling it with soil, ideally you want to use the soil that's in the ground and then the plants get used to it if they're bare root. That's the great thing about bare root plants. If you plant them in the early spring and they're bare root, then they wake up used to the soil that they're in. And if you change the soil, you want to add, after you plant it, you want to add good soil on top. You don't want to fill the hole with good soil. You want to fill it with the soil that's there that they're going to grow in, or else their roots will just get used to the good soil and it won't want to grow into the clay soil or whatever. That's what we have here, a lot of clay soil. So anyway, quick story about bare root. Bare root, it's the best way to buy plants, in my opinion, based on books I've read and my experiences in the garden. So yeah, trying to talk about blueberries. My blueberry bushes. Yeah, I basically like made a little hole, stuck them in and closed it up, and I thought, well, blueberries grow big. It doesn't matter if there's grass around, they'll grow up past the grass and it won't matter. But it did matter. My little blueberry bushes, I'm sure part of it was the soil. I probably didn't add enough soil acidifier, and blueberries especially like that, but I did plant them near my pine tree, which will kind of acidify the soil to a degree. So this year I sprinkled soil acidifier around them for sure, and I fertilized them, and I did that thing that I just told you not to do, and I filled the hole with better soil because I figured these are small plants, so even if they just grow in that hole that I dug, it'll probably be okay because they don't need a ton of room for their roots, right? So that's the experiment I'm doing. So what I did was I got all 12 of my blueberry bushes, 12-ish, and I dug a hole and pulled them out, and then I had to rip through this clay soil and all the grass roots to get to the blueberry plants that were left, and pull them out, rescue them from the grass that was suffocating them, and then add good soil with some organic fertilizer, stick it back in, and fill it up the rest of the way with the good soil. And I made sure they were fertilized. I only use organic fertilizer because it's more gentle on plants. The stuff that isn't organic, I don't know too much about it, but I do know if you use too much, that salts can build up in the soil, and that's really bad for plants. So it might be good at first, and I haven't used it long term to speak to it personally, but that's what I've heard. And I just feel like if you're using dead animals and plant matter, that's what plants are used to growing in, so it just makes sense to buy organic fertilizer that's made with that sort of thing. So yeah, that was a lot of hard work for hours on Saturday, but it was great weather for it. It was cloudy and not too hot. So it was a really nice day to do some backbreaking labor. Then I moved on to the raspberries. A friend at church gave me raspberry plants months ago, and I hadn't gotten them into the ground, but I was just like feeling it. Just went for it. I planted everything. I dug 5 holes for those plants and planted them next to the existing raspberry bushes I had. I planted heritage raspberries last year and they just died. I don't know what happened, what I did. It's a very good variety. I really liked them the best when we lived in Indiana. So I don't know why they died here, but the friend at church just happened to have that variety and gave them to me, so it was perfect. I didn't actually lose anything after that. So I planted those, and after and then first I started the day by weeding that circle in my backyard. So it was a lot of work, and I was a little concerned about how I'd feel the next day, but don't you know there's a patch for that? And I used my X49 patch. This isn't the patch, this is just a sticker that came with it. And on Sunday, I really felt okay. Like, I wasn't sore and I was tired, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't a horrible exhausted tired. And then I went home and after church, and I did some more planting and potting and repotting. Not a ton, but some. And then I went to youth group with the kids and did that. So yeah, it was, I feel like it was a very effective patch for what I did. It's made for workout recovery. People also use it for cardio health and bone health, but any kind of, like, I feel like gardening a lot of times is a workout, so it helps with that. So that's my patch plug for the day. Today I'm going to fertilize fig trees. I have to make sure I take care of those in my fig forest out front. There's so many fun things to tell you about these plants. I'd like to focus on a different plant every week and just talk about them, so I might do that for a little while. I got some new seeds, not a ton because most of my plants have been planted, but some things just didn't grow. I don't know if salad greens if their seeds don't last very long or what, but those didn't grow at all. So I got a replacement for those, which I will direct sow, which is risky in my garden because of the squirrels, but I'm just going to do it and hope they stay out. I've got some nice owl decoys and I hope they work. And the pinwheels seem to work for a few weeks, but now they're not working anymore. Oh, squirrels are just a pain. So after they're established, it'll be fine. But for now, they really disrupt the seeds when I first plant them in the seedlings. They're so annoying. And then my friend Jen, if you remember her from Deep South Blooms, she mentioned something about how lemon basil was her favorite, and I needed some basil. Sorry if I'm glowing. So I got some lemon basil to try. And then my friend in Indiana, a few years ago, my friend Mindy gave me a basil plant with giant leaves, and I am quite sure it went to seed, and I saved the seeds after, we ate it for a while. But I can't find them anywhere. So I bought some new basil seeds, and I'm going to try these. They're called lettuce leaf because they get so big. I'm going to try to grow some giant basil because there are some people in my family who really love basil, and we really like making tomato and basil and cheese sandwiches. So I'd like to have that for those. And someone suggested planting them throughout the season because they'll bolt, and that happens when a plant gets too hot and just starts growing straight up and going to seed. You'll see flowers on it, and then it doesn't taste as good anymore, and then it turns into seeds at the top, and you can harvest those seeds and save them for next year, but the plant really doesn't taste very good after that. Then, so Japanese beetles are a huge, huge problem. They decimated my cherry trees last year. So this year I got a few seeds for some plants that are supposed to repel them. I got chives, chervil, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and catnip. So we might repel the Japanese beetles, we might attract the neighborhood cats, which should be another adventure. I mean, just so much wildlife and tame wildlife running through my yard. I'll have so many stories for you. And then the free seeds I got were Japanese wasabi radish. I'm excited to try that. I don't really like very spicy things, but then I'll just try spicy things because a little spice is good. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be up to this afternoon and this week. And I'm sure I'll have some new gardening stories for you next week. So have a great week. Enjoy your tea and happy tea day.